Diddy claimed that somebody held a knife to his throat. He woke up and this guy basically had him and he had the knife, and Diddy was at this person's mercy. Now, it's unclear what exactly happened from there. Was there a guard that came in? Did Diddy somehow fight this person off? Well, it seems unlikely that happened. Or did the person just leave? Bottom line, this guy, at least according to people close to Diddy and Diddy himself, could have hurt him badly or even take.
Sean Diddy Combs was originally supposed to be released from prison in May 2028, but the government has now changed his release date to June 4th. And the reason is more serious than most people think. This isn't a simple mistake or paperwork delay. According to Federal Bureau of Prisons records, Diddy's sentence was extended because he broke several prison rules. One of the biggest issues was a three-way phone call that prison officials found suspicious. This happened in early November, and it was serious enough that the Bureau quietly updated his release information. His team tried to explain it away, saying it was just a normal legal call and nothing improper. But official documents later showed the opposite. The FBI summary revealed that the call wasn't protected by legal privilege. It was an unauthorized back-channel call involving people who weren't allowed to join. Why is this important? In the federal prison system, even small rule violations can add weeks or even months to a sentence. That's the official story. But behind the scenes, there are whispers of something bigger: drinking, bribery, and a larger effort to manipulate the rules of his imprisonment.
And Freed were in the unit that was one floor above mine. So in terms of like the setting, it's a fairly decent chance that the room I'm describing is similar to where Diddy is. Yeah.
This is the same man who wrote a formal letter to the judge last October, claiming he was broken, asking for mercy, and saying he had lost his way. But correctional sources at FCI Fort Dix say that what's happening inside prison is nothing like the humble picture he presented. Instead of showing real remorse, Diddy was reportedly caught drinking a homemade alcohol mix during his very first week. He had made it from soda, sugar, and apples left to ferment in his cell for nearly 2 weeks. We're told that supervisors considered putting him in lockdown, but decided to keep him in his unit, hoping the situation would fade. That changed when the phone call incident showed up on their radar a few days later. This is where the story splits. Diddy's team dismissed every rumor, asking the public to give him the benefit of the doubt. But people inside the facility say these weren't random mistakes, they saw a pattern. Small rule violations that seemed minor on their own, but looked intentional when put together. Officially, his team denies everything. They claim he's focusing on self-improvement, working in the chapel library, staying out of trouble, and sticking to his treatment program. But staff members and a few industry insiders tell a different story. They talk about unauthorized communications beyond that one phone call, messages passed around officers, attempts to control his conditions from the inside. Some even claim, off the record, that Diddy is using whatever influence he has left to get special treatment that regular inmates never receive. Every time a new report comes out, his lawyers call it fake news or exaggerated. They insist he's a model inmate, but their explanations are falling apart as fast as new details emerge. Prison logs confirm at least 2 major violations since October: the drinking and the phone misuse, both serious enough to officially push back his release date. And so, the contradiction grows. On one side, a legal team presenting him as a humbled father and changed man. And on the other, a growing stack of disciplinary reports inside the prison system.
He did a whole lot to a whole lot of people, and now he's paying for it. So all these cats, I guess y'all get y'all visitation rights. Some of y'all can get y'all conjugal visits right with them. I don't give.
What makes this more than just a story about a famous inmate acting out is the bigger picture behind it. Diddy's original 50-month sentence was already far lighter than the 11 years prosecutors were asking for. The government had accused him of running a long-term scheme that stretched over more than a decade. They described private events organized through layers of assistants and intermediaries, and 2 former partners, Cassie Ventura and another woman referred to as Jane, involved in what prosecutors called a pattern of illegal behavior. When the July headlines came out, many people focused on the charges. He avoided an acquittal on racketeering, a not guilty on trafficking, but he was still convicted on 2 counts of transporting individuals for intimate purposes. Each charge carried a possible 10-year sentence. So the final punishment, less than half of what prosecutors wanted, sent a strong message on its own. But the court also issued a warning: if he broke any rules, his release date could be changed. And as of November, that's exactly what happened. These prison incidents aren't happening in isolation. Diddy is still facing more than 100 lawsuits, many led by attorney Tony Busby. Each case creates more risk for him. The people suing him are watching everything he does, waiting for any sign that he isn't taking his punishment seriously. And when new prison incidents leak, it gives every accuser and lawyer more ammunition in future civil hearings. Look at this pattern. Look at his behavior. That's the argument they'll use. That's why every mistake at FCI Fort Dix sends shockwaves outside the prison. This isn't just about following rules, it's part of a much larger battle over who controls the public narrative. And with constant press leaks, social media speculation, and industry insiders watching closely, every move Diddy makes is examined for hidden meaning.
Interestingly, we haven't seen the indictments yet. There's been some time lag. I suppose it will take some time to go through all the forensic, evidence.
Here's the real question. Are these violations just careless mistakes? Small acts of rebellion from a disgraced celebrity who hates being controlled? Or is Diddy using his time in prison as another chapter in the ongoing fight to protect his legacy? People familiar with life at Fort Dix say it's hard to tell where chance ends and influence begins. And the timing keeps raising eyebrows. Each violation shows up right when another wave of legal trouble is starting. Every public denial from his team is followed by another official incident recorded in his prison file. Behind every headline, two competing stories are fighting for control. Diddy's version paints him as a misunderstood star trying to turn his life around. The government's version suggests that even in prison, the rules can bend for someone with enough money, connections, and strategy. But prison walls don't hide everything, and what's happening behind the scenes right now could shift everything that comes next. These violations aren't small details, they're major warning signs. Because if he's breaking rules inside, it raises a bigger question. What was he doing before he ended up here? We can't treat these incidents as random. Not when the pattern goes all the way back to his courtroom battles, the same case where he avoided the harshest racketeering charges, but was still convicted for arranging travel linked to private encounters. Remember, Cassie Ventura testified about years of intimidation and controlling behavior, and Diddy's team dismissed her sworn testimony as lies. That's the pattern we keep seeing. In public, his side denies everything. But in official documents and in whispers between lawyers, there are lists of people who say they were threatened or pressured into staying silent.
I'm sorry, I'm just really, I'm in this moment right now. This is crazy. Sorry. People don't really know how much what it does to you when something that you love is taken from you and thrown away like it don't even matter, and then they move on with their lives and you're stuck. You're stuck during those years. You're still stuck 21 years later.
The trail of accusations is longer than most people realize. During the final weeks of the trial, former partners described not just private events and physical aggression, but an entire culture built on loyalty, secrecy, and pressure. Cassie Ventura wasn't the only one who spoke out. Jane also described expensive gifts, financial control, and constant pressure behind closed doors. Together, even though their stories came years apart, they painted a picture of a man surrounded by yes-men and protected by a large, well-organized system. Diddy has never admitted to any wrongdoing. In fact, every time a new claim surfaced, his lawyers immediately responded by saying the lawsuits were just attempts to gain attention. But lately, that strategy seems to be under more pressure than ever.
I'm happy to go. So we think that's just absolutely inconsistent with the jury's verdict. I mean, the jury's verdict was resoundingly clear. There was no trafficking, there was no racketeering, everything was consensual, everything was adult, which is why he was convicted only of the offense. What we feel happened today was that the judge acted as a 13th juror, yes, one that we did not choose, and that he second-guessed.
Diddy's legal team is down to their final option, the appeal, and every violation he commits inside Fort Dix makes the situation worse. Each new incident gives judges another reason to reject his release requests or dismiss his appeal as weak. The real question is, why risk everything for homemade alcohol or unauthorized phone calls? People who have worked with celebrity inmates say it's not about comfort or boredom. It's about power. It's about staying relevant, keeping influence, maintaining respect, and staying connected. Diddy still has business interests running, and many of his old associates remain loyal. He's always been known for turning setbacks into fuel for his brand. Rumor has it that several well-connected people are working behind the scenes to keep his projects alive while he's out of the public eye. While we're watching every move Diddy makes inside Fort Dix, something even more complicated is happening outside. His financial empire hasn't stopped. Bad Boy Records, the foundation of his career, continues to earn royalties from a music catalog that still performs well on streaming platforms. His partnerships in the spirits industry, including big branding deals with CROC, are still active because of long-standing contracts. Business insiders say money is still moving through shell companies and old trusts. But with Diddy's name now considered toxic, the bigger question is, who, if anyone, is still brave enough to operate the powerful business network he once controlled?
Specifically challenges allegations suggesting that Mr. Combs and his involvement in the 2018 of his former partner, Kim Porter, whose passing was officially attributed to natural causes by the Los Angeles County.
This is where things get blurry and the stakes rise even higher. With more than 100 lawsuits building up and more accusers stepping forward, Diddy's legal advisors are reportedly suggesting a quiet breakup of his connected businesses. Financial records show a rush of asset transfers in the months before his conviction, leading many to believe that trusted associates are moving money and property out of reach before courts or creditors can freeze them. The laws around this are complex, but the message is simple. Every asset move becomes another shield for a mogul under pressure. But even inside his circle, there's confusion and distrust. Some people on Diddy's business teams are said to be loyal no matter what, still following coded instructions passed through lawyers and middlemen. Others, facing subpoenas and public scrutiny, may be looking for an exit, trying to protect themselves as the investigations expand. The power dynamics are unstable. We're hearing reports that financial managers in Los Angeles and Miami are arguing over what to do next. Meanwhile, the people running Bad Boy's daily operations are quietly wondering who has the authority to approve major decisions now. And while the legal risks dominate headlines, the deeper issue is reputation and market value. Big brands tied to Diddy are watching every update, quietly reviewing their contracts and preparing backup plans. One major beverage distributor has reportedly started a private audit to decide whether the negative publicity has already caused permanent damage. In entertainment and nightlife, events and products once associated with Diddy are quietly being removed and replaced with safer, controversy-free options.